Just stakeholders call for education reforms after poor 2025 WAEC performance. Ahead of 2027 polls, billboards stir controversy as INEC faces scrutiny over campaign rules. 20 women kidnapped in fresh Zamfara raid. And on the foreign scene, Ethiopia issues first death sentence for human trafficking. A very good evening to you. Welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Thank you so much for joining us. Now we'll begin with the WAEC. Educationists and parents have expressed concern over the poor performance of students in the recent release of West African Senior School Certificate Examination results conducted by the West African Examination Council WAEC. According to the results released on Monday, out of 1,969,313 candidates who sat for the exam, only 754,545, representing 38.32% obtained credit pass in at least 5 subjects, including English language and mathematics. Ado Musa spoke with some parents, students, and education stakeholders in Jos and files in this report.
Although this is not the first time students have recorded poor performance in WAEC exams, this year's outcome is particularly alarming as it marks the worst result in the last 5 years. Only 38% of candidates obtained 5 credits in key subjects, raising fresh concern about the state of the education sector. Some students who spoke to Trust TV shared their disappointment and pointed out several factors that they believe contributed to the poor performance.
So this is because of the lack of adequate facilities to teach the children, lack of technical know-how, and even employment of inadequate teachers and teachers with little educational know-how.
Why many people failed English language? Because some people wrote English language in the night and WAEC did not do anything about it. They just left it like that. So that is the reason why many people failed.
Parents also voiced their frustration, describing the results as disturbing and calling for urgent action to reverse the trend.
It's so disheartening that children have to feel that way. We see the country's hardship, the economy is no longer funding our parents, our pockets are no longer as heavy as usual. No money, and the registration of WAEC this year, in some schools you pay 100 and something, in some schools you pay 70-something thousand, depending on the school your child is attending.
The problem we are having is computer problem. Because to the students, we say that they have written well, but when the results come out, you see that what they wrote is not what they are giving. So to me, I'm thinking that Nigerians should go back, especially the people marking and releasing WAEC, go and know what the problem is.
An educationist, Emeka Uzo, attributed the mass failure to systematic challenges in the education sector and provided suggestions for improvement.
Some of the schools we send our children to, one, but maybe the parents themselves also. How do they encourage their students, their words? And again, you can look at it at the angle of maybe the phone we have now, the phone we use. Children use phone these days to help them in the exam period, for malpractices and all the rest, hoping that it will help them. But in general, maybe in the process of marking, the people that are marking the script might discover that there's exam malpractice and decide to do what? Fail the students. The way forward is for our parents to sit up. In the sense, maybe try to look into their children's workbook when they come home. Look into their books. Look where they have some things to, by so they can be able to have some more improvement in the system. Well, governments have not been also doing their best, to my own understanding. Because at times you go to our schools, our public schools, we don't have the good teachers to teach. We don't have the environment is not conducive for teaching learning process. So all these things, government need to sit up.
Both parents and stakeholders in the education sector are calling on the government to take decisive steps to rescue the education system, warning that failure to act will continue to jeopardize the future of the nation's children. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Governor Mai Malabuni of Yobe State has congratulated 2 teenagers from the state for emerging overall best in English language and debate competition at the 2025 Teen Eagle Global Finals in London. Nafisa Abdullahi, 17, and Rukaya Ferma, 15, both students of Nigeria Tulip International College, Mamodu, represented Nigeria and triumphed over 20,000 participants from 69 countries. The governor described their performance as a great honor to the state and the country and said it justifies the government's investment in education. He announced plans for a grand reception to honor the winners. Meanwhile, Buni pledged that his administration will continue subsidizing education to ensure every child in the state has access to schooling and appealed for parents' cooperation. He noted that both Nafisa and Rukaya were beneficiaries of the state's scholarship program, which covers full tuition for 890 students at the college. Meanwhile, former Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Pantami, has called on the federal government to reward 17-year-old Nafisa Aminu for emerging the best in the world in English at the 2025 Teen Eagle Global Finals in London. In a post on X, Pantami said Nafisa, a student of the Nigerian Tulip International College in Yobe, who beat over 20,000 participants from 69 countries, should be given $100,000, a 3-bedroom flat, and a national honor similar to what was awarded to the Super Falcons and the Tigers. He also recommended that her English teacher receives recognition, stressing the need to value education as much as sports. Pantami said Nafisa's victory proves that with the right opportunities and support, Nigerian students can excel globally. Now, the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress has held its 177th regular meeting at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. Chaired by APC National Chairman Professor Lentawe Yelwatsda, the meeting reviewed various party matters and ongoing activities. On the sidelines, APC governor declared that the ruling party remains Nigeria's only viable political option, dismissing opposition parties as insignificant. This position was reiterated during an inspection of an ICT data center under construction at the Secretariat, attended by Chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Hope Uzodinma, and Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo, alongside Professor Yelwatsda. The governors described the project as a demonstration of solidarity with the new party leadership and a step towards strengthening the APC's internal structures. Governor Uzodinma highlighted the party's digital registration drive as a tool to enhance coordination and vote engagement, insisting that only 2 political entities exist in Nigeria. The APC and the rest. Professor Yelwatsda assured that the APC will become the preferred choice of Nigerians by modernizing its operations and fostering unity from the top down.
Well, we're here on a working visit. We came to monitor and evaluate the extent of the e-registration exercise. This is a handsome tall man, full of energy and intelligence. I think our party were very excited and happy with the choice of our new national chairman, and we are confident that it is what we are looking for. I know that there is only 2 parties in Nigeria, All Progressive Congress and others.
When it comes to APC, we're exemplary, and you could see it in the way we conduct ourselves in the NEC you can see how the governors are relating with the party. You can see how the members are relating with the party. How we made this party attractive to the people, attractive to the nation, attractive also to the governors also. So we are deepening our relationship every day. And on this illustration, you know, we are a leading party by far compared to any other political party, and we want to ensure that we deepen technology. We ensure that we lead in all respect, in all ramification, and technology is one aspect that we're doing, so that we're leading also in that same respect, ensuring that we know the number of people who are part of our own political party.
Now, with 2 years to the next general elections in Nigeria, campaign billboards are already springing up along major roads and streets across the Federal Capital Territory and neighboring Nasarawa State. This development raises concern about whether these actions comply with the Independent National Electoral Commission's regulations on political campaigning. In this report, Trust TV's Noel Sampson examines the scale of these apparent violations and what INEC is doing to address them.
TV, Wilfred Ifoga, the Deputy Director of Information and Publicity at INEC, and legal practitioner Mutiu Akinsaya, both reference the Electoral Act of 2022, which clearly outlines the guidelines for political campaigning, including the placement of billboards.
The Electoral Act 2022 provides in section 94(1) that every political party, the time frame for campaigns publicly actually begins 150 days to the particular election. It's expected to stop 24 hours to the election. So as we speak, I think right now we have elections in various states where we have by-elections for legislative houses, and also we have the Anambra standalone election for their governorship election. So right now, these are the places we expect campaigns to go on. For the Anambra, they are already about within the period where the campaigns are on already. So these are the places we actually expect public campaigns by the political parties.
Section 94 of the Electoral Act is very clear. It is completely illegal. And those who are putting up the billboards, or those on whose behalf those billboards are placed, can be liable under the law. So the law they can be fined and they can be punished. In fact, it's tantamount to a criminal violation of the Electoral Act.
Akinsa also elaborated on the penalties for violators, while Ifoga discussed ongoing efforts by the Commission to curb the illegal practice.
We are advising them to stop it because ordinarily we expect everyone to abide by the Electoral Act. Not until the Commission comes out with the electoral timetable as against 2027. So it's not expected that anyone should come out with it.
Section 94 provides clearly for fine to be paid. And even if the law is not clear, if the law has prohibited something, there are steps that are required to be taken, even if they are not in black and white, because where the law is violated and there are no consequences, it's an encouragement for the law to be further violated. So INEC, for instance, as a body, has a duty to pull down those billboards when they are illegally erected, and they also have the duty to also bring those who put those billboards to book.
Meanwhile, Musa Ayiga, an ADC chieftain and grassroots mobilizer, condemned those flouting the rules and called for stricter enforcement and tougher penalties.
When you violate INEC rules and regulations or the INEC, the Electoral Act, you should be in prison. Apart from going to prison, you have to be fined like 1 billion or even more for violating it. It's better so that people will feel it. When you are doing it, you'll be afraid. Look, we have a law in this country, and if we are not careful, the law, in fact, we are going to be sanctioned.
Some politicians have claimed that these billboards are erected by overzealous supporters without their consent. However, political analysts argue that such excuses should not override constitutional provisions or INEC guidelines. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, a group within the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Oyo State is calling on President Bola Tinubu and the party's National Working Committee to intervene in what they described as the imposition of Adewale Olatunji as the party's candidate for the upcoming Ibadan North by-election. They allege that the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, is behind the move despite the backing of another aspirant, Khalil Mustafa. The report.
With just 2 weeks to the Ibadan North by-election, political activities are gaining momentum, but within the Oyo State chapter of the APC, internal tensions are brewing over the party's yet-to-be finalized choice of candidate. Some party members have accused Minister Adebayo Adelabu of imposing Adewale Olatunji as APC candidate, sidelining their preferred choice, Khalil Mustafa.
We reject imposition in politics. I believe that all candidates should be given a fair chance, just like our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself, subjected himself to party primaries. If there's a crisis in the party and APC fails to win, the blame should go to the minister, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, and the working committee under the former acting chairman, Alibu Kadalori, and other stakeholders that started this issue initially. The aspirant initially planned a solidarity rally, but converted it to a press conference to allow the presidency to hear our voice and prevent further division within the party.
They argue that the same lack of internal democracy that pushed Adelabu to leave the APC in 2023 is now resurfacing under his watch, undermining the credibility of the party's selection process.
It is very important to put on record 2023. This same act was perpetuated and the then aspirant, gubernatorial aspirant, Shehu Adelabu, who is like a brother, left the party because of this kind of process he did not believe in. That is not democratic, and they left for accord based on his principal stance, fighting against something he believed is bringing. The process is flawed. It does not key into the electoral act process.
As the August 16 by-election approaches, the outcome of this internal dispute could shape the APC's performance at the polls and influence the party's strength and unity within the Ibadan North Federal Constituency.
Now, at least 6 people, a mother and her 5 children, have died after a building collapsed during a heavy downpour in Dakama local government area of Katsina State. The tragedy occurred around 2 a.m. on Tuesday while the victims were asleep. 3 others occupants sustained injuries and are receiving treatment in the hospital. Muhammad Sani, the husband and father of the deceased, said the collapse affected 10 people in total. He identified the dead as his wife Maria Sani, 45, Mujahid, 20, Zaharia, 18, Hawa, 15, Amira and Nura, 5. Meanwhile, the Katsina State Emergency Management Agency officials have visited the family to condole with them and assess the damage. At least 3 people have been killed and several others hospitalized in a fresh bandit attack on Malumfashi, Lamdome and Faskari communities of Katsina State. The bandits wielding dangerous weapons during the latest attack on Karfi village of Malumfashi local government on Monday evening killed 2 people and abducted an unspecified number of women and children. In Lamdome and Megoro village of Faskari local government, 1 person was killed and another wounded while separately working on their farms on Monday morning. Those who sustained gunshot wounds at the Karfi village were rushed to Malumfashi General Hospital by a combined team of security personnel for medication. According to reports from Karfi community, the attackers who stormed the village in broad daylight on Friday returned on Sunday night before the latest Monday evening attack. Meanwhile, the police in Katsina said they have launched an investigation into the attacks with a view to reinstalling them and bringing the culprits to book. Still on insecurity, bandits have abducted at least 20 persons, mostly young girls and women in Muriki town of Zurmi local government area of Zamfara state. Report says the victims were abducted on Saturday while fetching firewood on the outskirts of the town. Police authorities in the state are yet to confirm the incident. The conflict is worsening a malnutrition crisis in the northwest as attackers drive people away from their farms in a situation that has been complicated by climate change and Western aid cuts. Last month, bandits in Zamfara killed 33 people they had kidnapped in February despite receiving a $33,700 ransom while 3 babies died in captivity, officials and residents told AFP. Now, the Lagos State Police Command has arraigned one of its most wanted suspects, Wasiu Akinwade, popularly known as Olori Esho, before the Ogba Magistrate Court on multiple charges including murder and illegal possession of firearms. He was reportedly arrested at a hideout in Agbado, Ogun State by the police tactical squad where a cache of arms and ammunition was recovered. Items recovered includes 9 AK-47 rifles, 2 pump-action guns, 2 pistols, and a 13 international passport. Trust TV's Victoria Tokolo, who was at the court, has more in this report.
There was heavy security present at the Samuel Ilori Courthouse in Ogba, Lagos, as 44-year-old Wasiu Akinwade, alias Olori Esho, was brought in by a team of armed police personnel for arraignment. Described by the police as one of the most dangerous and notorious criminals in Lagos State, Olori Esho is said to have led a reign of terror in motion axis between year 2009 and 2024, allegedly masterminding a series of murders, kidnappings, and armed robberies. Akinwade now faces an 11-count charge bordering on conspiracy, murder, attempted murder, illegal possession of firearms, membership of an unlawful society, possession of a poisonous dagger, grievous bodily harm, threats to life, and unlawful possession of international passports. Several victim relatives were present in court seeking justice for their loved ones who were killed or affected by the suspect.
I witnessed the killing myself because I saw her approaching while they were running, they were returning from where they went to attack. So they were running. So as I saw her approaching, I told her to hide behind the car. I couldn't get to her in time without them seeing me. So I hid too behind the store. So I told her to hide behind the car. So I think while they were seeing, it was the one with the pump action. Others have guns too, but all they have is local homemade guns. There was one with the English pump action. So he saw someone behind the car. I don't know his reason for shooting. I don't know if he's aware if he's a child or not. He shot dead. Where I was hiding, I was open the mist. So as they fled, I quickly rushed there, only to find my daughter in a pool of her own blood.
The only thing I want is we need justice. We need justice because Wasiu Olori is a criminal. We need justice, please. He killed our sons, 2 people at the same time. We need justice, please. That's the only thing I will say. We need justice.
2011, Wasiu shoot for leg. He told me for on the 19th Akola, now on the 17th shoot me. On the 19th Akola, February. He told me say, our people tell us say we are the bully for man because of that.
On 31st of July, around 11:45 p.m., my son called me that they've murdered my son, 30 years old, Bolakale Atunda. So on getting to the spot, I saw my blood in a pool of blood, and I asked his brother to go and bury him. Since then, Olori Esho and his accomplice have been running elder scatter in order to not to face their judgments. But I'm appealing to every Nigerian because I know Election have backers, we have godfathers, we have everybody. They are even sending voice message to my son that they will deal with him after, whenever the judgment is around.
They all called for justice and urged the judiciary to ensure that the full weight of law is applied. In her ruling, Magistrate Mobolaji Tanimola ordered that the defendant be remanded at the Kirikiri Correctional Center for an initial period of 30 days. The case was adjourned to September 4th, 2025.
Now, Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has ordered the immediate arrest of the killers of 2 Igede youths along Awaji Ojo Road and attackers of Yunfong community in Buruku local government. He directed the security agencies to move in and liaise with the traditional rulers of the areas concerned and ensure that they combed the vicinity thoroughly and within 48 hours to identify and apprehend the perpetrators to face the full wrath of the law. According to security reports, the two were traveling from Oju on their motorcycle when they were attacked and killed in cold blood. Governor Alia also denounced a separate attack on Yufon community in Mbekyongo ward of Buruku local government area. The incident, reportedly carried out by youths from the Mbayaka community in Kusub, also in Buruku local government area, followed a misunderstanding linked to a boat mishap. He described the two incidents, which happened separately in different local governments in the state, as uncalled for and unfortunate, saying nobody or any group has the right to invade another community or inflict harm under any circumstances. Now, the Nigerian Forest Security Service, NFSS, has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening collaboration with other security agencies in the fight against banditry, illegal logging, and other criminal activities ravaging the nation's forest. Assistant Commandant General for the North Central Zone, Abdullahim Ibrahim, made the pledge during the zonal passing out of parade of new recruits held in Makurdi. Our correspondent has more in this report.
Nigeria's forests have increasingly become safe havens for criminals involved in banditry, kidnapping, and illegal logging. In light of this, the recent passage of the NFSS Establishment Act by both chambers of the National Assembly is being hailed as a significant step toward bolstering national security efforts. At the event, over 250 new recruits were formally inducted into the Nigerian Forest Security Service. Their deployment is expected to enhance the agency's operational reach and secure previously ungoverned spaces across the country. Assistant Commandant General Abdullahim Ibrahim urged the new officers to uphold the values of integrity, discipline, and vigilance as they take on their responsibilities.
The mandate of this organization is to make sure it secures and protects forest crimes. So, which Benue State is a Nigerian state. So, this organization is ready and always ready to secure and protect Benue State from every form of forest crimes.
The NFSS emphasized that intelligence gathering and interagency collaboration will remain central to its strategy as it intensifies efforts to reclaim and secure the nation's forest zones.
Now, in the FCT, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has ordered the immediate shutdown of all illegal mining activities within the FCT. The move, according to the minister, is part of efforts to curb rising security threats within the nation's capital, following a 3-hour closed-door security meeting with heads of key agencies led by the FCT Commissioner of Police. The minister outlined new strategies to combat insecurity in the territory, with illegal mining identified as a major contributor. FCT Commissioner of Police Ajaw Adewale highlighted recent achievements by the Joint Security Task Force in tackling various forms of criminal activities across the FCT. He assured residents that security operations and patrol will be intensified while urging the public to remain vigilant and cooperate with law enforcement agencies.
To the glory of God, the exercise has been very successful. And from the beginning we have recorded, we have seen the need to continue. Specifically, the issue of shanties springing up everywhere in the FCT have been of concern and of importance to the attention of the Honorable Minister. We should equally have the issue of these beggars destitute all over the city, which we are addressing, and he has tasked the service commander to continue addressing that situation with a view to see that we rid the whole of FCT streets of all these miscreants that are constituting a kind of threat to the environment. Issue of illegal mining springing up around the city has equally been of concern. And you understand the security implication of this. He has given the directive that those illegal mining must be shut down.
The House of Representatives has warned government agencies against undermining constitutional mandates. The chairman of the House of Committee on Federal Character Commission, Ahmed Idris Wase, expressed deep concern over the conduct of some ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, which according to him are attempting to usurp the powers of the Federal Character Commission. The chairman also flagged irregular recruitment processes and lopsided appointments, revealing that the Minister of Education has been summoned to explain the discrepancies. The Commission monitors over 700 MDAs nationwide, but says its hands are tied by limited enforcement powers and inadequate funding.
We are also very unhappy with the interference now, I say interference, of some agencies of government who want to come in and do the job alongside with you. We are not in collaboration, we are not in support of that. The Constitution is very clear, it's a constitutional provision. You are creation of the Constitution, not an act. I'm not belittling the act of Parliament, but whatever law you have anywhere, what you have in the Constitution supersedes.
We must also acknowledge that paucity of funds remains one of the major constraints facing the Commission in the discharge of its constitutional responsibilities. Inadequate funding affects our capacity to monitor MDAs effectively, to build digital compliance tools, and to conduct recruitment audits nationwide. But I am confident that with the support and intervention of the President and the National Assembly, especially this distinguished committee, this challenge can and will be overcome.
Now on drug matters, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has seized banned, expired and unregistered products valued at over 1.5 billion during a major enforcement operation at the Lagos Trade Fair Market. A post on NAFDAC's official X handle said the operation was led by the agency's Director of Investigation and Enforcement, Martins Iluyomadi. It said the raid focused on the cosmetics section of the market, where several warehouses were discovered to be stocked with cosmetics, food items and other NAFDAC-regulated products that lacked proper registration or date markings. NAFDAC describes the seizure as one of the largest in recent months, adding that it is part of the institution's crackdown on the circulation of unsafe consumer goods across the country. The agency said its enforcement operations are ongoing nationwide and targeted at safeguarding public health by removing hazardous items from the market. The development comes as part of NAFDAC's broader efforts to rid Nigerian markets of substandard and potentially harmful products. Now, the skyrocketing price of fertilizer in Nigeria has continued to raise concern among small-scale farmers who say they can no longer afford the essential input despite a sharp drop in the market price of maize and other grains. Trust TV's Adamu Imam spoke with some of these farmers in Bauchi who remain committed to supporting the nation's food security despite their challenges. His report.
In Bauchi State, smallholders farmers within Bauchi metropolis have blamed the recent surge in fertilizer prices on what they describe as a lack of sincerity from government authorities and key players in the agricultural sector. According to them, if the prices of grains have dropped, fertilizer should also become more affordable to reflect the current market reality. Our leaders should pay attention to plight of farmers. Fertilizer is essential to farming. We have no alternative. Farming is our only means of survival. Agriculture is our pride. It's how we hope to develop ourselves and contribute to the growth of the country. Honestly, we bought seed and fertilizer at high prices last year, but now the price of grains has dropped. My concern is for this season farmers. This situation should be a wake-up call. Despite everything, we will have hope, but the price of fertilizer is now higher than the value of all the grains we consume at home, and yet we continue to suffer in silence. We are still praying that since grain prices have dropped, fertilizer prices will also reduce so that smallholder farmers like us can feel some relief. For example, I planted maize last season, but I can't this year because of high cost of fertilizer, yet dry season is fast approaching. Meanwhile, one of the major fertilizer distribution companies has pointed fingers at manufacturing and blending firms in Nigeria, as well as other dealers accusing them of hoarding the product for selfish gain.
Fertilizer skyrocketing on daily basis. I think it has to do with the way the producers are handling the production. I will not mention the name, but there are companies that stop production for 6 months. And I think that is why the dealers hoarded the fertilizer and they are increasing the money on a daily basis.
Despite the setback, the farmers are urging their colleagues not to give up on cultivating food crops, insisting that farming remains a vital solution to hunger and food insecurity in communities across the country. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now move to Kano. The state governor, Abba Yusuf, has announced plans to recruit over 10,000 additional workers as part of sweeping measures to tackle unemployment and strengthen public service. He also revealed a major irrigation project, a 2-kilometer earth dam set to open up 2,800 hectares of farmland and irrigate over 3 million square meters. Governor Yusuf made those announcements while presenting appointment letters to 1,038 newly engaged agricultural extension workers in Kano on Monday. The governor said the move fulfills a key campaign promise to boost food security and support rural economy while warning the recruiters against corruption and negligence.
It is our intention, inshallah, to ensure within the next few months the employment of almost 5,000 youths within the Kano State Civil Service. We have already done that in the Ministry of Education by employing many better teachers into the mainstream of the civil service. Within the next few weeks or days, we're also going to plug off another distribution of letters of employment to almost 3,900 additional better teachers in the state. On tertiary education, we also intend within the next few weeks to employ a total of 1,500 employees within the service.
Now, the Lagos State government has urged residents to remain calm following heavy rainfall in the last 12 hours, assuring that resilient infrastructure is in place to manage flash flooding. According to the state's Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency advisory has warned of heavy rainfall and thunderstorms over the next 3 days. It said some parts of the state may experience flash floods due to the inability of major collectors to contain excessive runoff. Authorities cautioned that Lagos' coastal location and rising water levels in the lagoon could cause tidal locks, preventing water discharge from drainage systems. The ministry advised residents to avoid wading through flooded areas, keeping children from playing in the rain, and refrain from dumping refuse into the drains. Now, the death toll from the recent devastating floods in Adamawa State has risen to 29. This was revealed during a condolence visit by the First Lady, Senator Tinubu, who donated 500 million and relief materials to victims through her Renewed Hope initiative. Trust TV's Gibson Swadigo reports from Yola.
The First Lady was represented by Hajia Nana Shatima, the wife of the Vice President, who led a federal delegation to Yola, the Adamawa State capital. The delegation was received by the Deputy Governor of Adamawa State, Kalitapwa Farauta. The event was attended by members of the State Executive Council, the State House of Assembly, and flood victims from several communities in Yola South local government area, where the disaster claimed 29 lives and displaced hundreds. Speaking on behalf of the state government, Farauta expressed appreciation to the First Lady for the generous support during what she described as a time of great distress.
We want to thank you for identifying with us in this moment. We want to thank you for raising the hopes of the common man and the common woman. We want to thank you for coming in today to do what parents do, because you are coming in as a mother of the nation and on behalf of the father of the nation. As a state, we are most grateful. We do not take this for granted. We thank you for coming in. Thank you for all the aid you'll be bringing in. We are sure that not only trailers will be coming in, but helicopters will also be descending with a lot of the items. We want to assure you that whatever is brought to Adamawa State, judiciously and fairly, every affected victim will have his own portion.
Presenting the donation and relief items, Ajianana Shatima explained that 500 million naira support and accompanying materials are a gesture of shared grief and solidarity under the Renewed Hope initiative, the humanitarian platform of the First Lady.
I'm here to sympathize with the good people of Adamawa State over the devastating flood that occurred in Yola South local government and led to the loss of precious lives and displaced several families. I pray that Almighty Allah comfort the grieved families, heal the injured, and strengthen all those affected. We are using a stunt to kill 3 birds. In continuation of our nationwide food outreach program, I will be presenting food items to the state for onward distribution to the people living with disabilities and other vulnerable groups in Adamawa State.
Some beneficiaries who received the palliatives expressed gratitude for the timely intervention, describing it as a lifeline in a moment of need. Gibson Soadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll return shortly. Welcome back. And now in business. The African Export-Import Bank has signed a $1.35 billion financing facility for Dangote Industries Limited, part of a billion syndicate loan to finance the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals Complex. Afreximbank President Benedict Oyama said the deal shows Africa's development can be financed from within, while deal chairman Aliko Dangote held the support as key to industrializing the continent. Since operation began in February 2024, Afreximbank has provided financing for crude supply and product offtake, ensuring uninterrupted refinery operations and boosting Africa's refining capacity. Now away from Nigeria, Ethiopia has sentenced 5 individuals to death for human trafficking, marking the first time the country has issued the death penalty for this crime. The group was convicted for operating along the eastern route, a path used by thousands of migrants traveling from horns of Africa through the Red Sea and Yemen to the Gulf state in search of work. The verdict comes shortly after a maritime tragedy in which dozens of Ethiopian migrants drowned off the coast of Yemen, highlighting the deadly risks faced by those in hands of trafficking networks. Ethiopian justice authorities described the ruling as a turning point in efforts to combat human trafficking. Specialized task forces have been established within law enforcement and the judiciary to strengthen investigations and protect victims. Now, large crowds gathered around 8 trucks entering Gaza through the Morag corridor on Monday as severe food shortages continue to grip the enclave. In Khan Yunis, residents described chaotic scenes with desperate families pushing and shoving to secure basic supplies. Aid agencies report that the deliveries remain scarce and inconsistent, with some trucks stripped from goods before reaching designated warehouses. They warned that the limited supplies cannot meet the growing needs of the population. The United Nations has raised alarm over the worsening humanitarian crisis, saying Gaza is edging towards a worst-case scenario of famine. International pressure is mounting on Israel to ease restrictions and allow more aid convoys into the territory. Now, Beijing lifted a severe weather alert on Tuesday but warned residents to stay vigilant against natural disasters after authorities evacuated more than 82,000 people over fears of deadly floods in Chinese capital. The Municipal Weather Office had imposed a red rainstorm warning, the highest in 4-tier system, on Monday, forecasting heavy downpour until Tuesday morning. The office lifted the alert early Tuesday morning, saying in a social media statement that the weather system had weakened as it drifted eastwards, but it continued to warn of isolated downpours across outlying parts of the city, adding that people must not let up after strong rains have passed, as landslide or other disasters may follow. Officials warned of flooding risks in the northwestern suburb of Mayun, the hardest hit by the recent deluge, as well as a southwestern function, western Metogo and north Huayu. And now in sports, Nigeria's Super Eagles B team this Tuesday lost 1-0 to champion Senegal in their opening Group D match of the African Nations Championship, CHAN, in Tanzania. A defensive error in the Super Eagles B backline was punished by the Senegalese with 15 minutes left to play. It was Senegal's only shot on target, which fortunately resulted in the only goal of the tied encounter. In terms of ball possession, the Super Eagles B had 58% to Senegal's 42%. Also, the Nigerian side edged in pass accuracy with 75%, while the CHAN reigning champions had 70%. The home-based Eagles will hope to bounce back from the defeat in their next game against Sudan on August 12. In the group's first fixture, Sudan conceded with 4 minutes left to settle to a 1-1 draw with Congo. And now it's time for us to join Kabir Lawan for more news on sports.
Nigeria has officially been awarded by hosting rights for the second African School Games set to take place in 2027. The announcement was made on Tuesday in August, following a competitive bidding process that saw Nigerian triumph over the strong contenders, including South Africa and Kenya. Reacting to the announcement, Director General of National Sports Commission NSC, Bukola Olopade, expressed delight with Nigeria's achievement. In his words, "It is a huge win for Nigeria and for the future of sports development on the continent. Our successful bid is a testament to unhinged commitment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to sports excellence." He also quoted as saying, "It is also a reflection of the renewed hope mandate Nigeria is fast returning to glory as the epicenter of sports excellence in Africa, while simultaneously growing our sports economy and enhancing our international image as a prime destination for global sporting events." Still on sport news, with just day to tip off of the 2025 Afro Basketball Championship in Angola, only 9 invited players have reported to the Tigers camp. The Nigerian Basketball Federation had last week released a provisional roster for the tournament, but attendance at the Abuja camp remains low. According to updates from the team's camp, the players currently in training include Stan Okoye, Talib Zenna, Mike Nuga, Christian Makwoli, Divine AK, Kodrichi Akumbundu, Martins Igbanu, and Andrew Ugo Simon. The rest of the invited players are still expected. The 2025 Afro Basketball Championship is scheduled to be held from August 12th in Angola. That's Sport News. I am Kabir Lawan.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch or catch us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Fatima Ahmed Musa from me and the crew. Thanks for watching.